Vuley Puppet.
Good evening, Yankee Doodle daisies and dandies. Welcome to After Dark. I'm your host, Vuley Puppet. Thank you. In a development this week that made every beach proposal, jumbotron proposal, and ring hidden in dessert proposal look like a manila envelope labeled minimal effort, daredevil couple Angelina Nicolo, 33, and Ivan Kuznetsov, 32, apparently looked at the Empire State Building and thought, yes, that internationally recognized landmark could use more trespassing, romance, and prosecutorial paperwork. So instead of choosing a restaurant like two people with functioning survival instincts, they climbed the building's spire and broadcast tower, unfurling a peace banner, and transformed a marriage proposal into a kind of love story that begins with, "Aw," and ends with, "Your Honor?" Someone should gently remind them that gravity is not a vibe, it's a law. And unlike building security, it has never taken a coffee break. The pair are internationally known rooftopers and appear in Netflix Skywalkers, a love story, which apparently did not provide sufficient documentary evidence for future prosecutors. After buying observation deck tickets, hiding inside the building overnight, and stress testing security protocols in the least helpful way imaginable, they made their way to the 103rd floor water tower hatch and antenna structure. That's where Kuznetsov dropped to one knee, an adorable gesture, providing you ignore that he was doing it in one of the few places in Manhattan where kneeling feels like a direct challenge to physics. Still, credit where it's due, he proposed with commitment, confidence, and a location choice that screamed, "Our registry is at the Manhattan District Attorney's office." The couple then spent more than 10 minutes taking in the view, the romance, and what lawyers may one day refer to as Exhibit A through infinity, before being calmly escorted back to Earth by the NYPD Emergency Service Unit. And yet, somewhere inside this skyscraper-shaped fever dream, there is a strangely beautiful message. In a world often defined by power, fear, and people shouting into rectangles, these two hoisted a peace banner high above New York, reminding us of the old truth. When the power of love overcomes the love of power, the world will know peace. Admittedly, most versions of that truth do not include allegedly hiding overnight in a landmark, but inspiration is rarely OSHA compliant. On July 2nd, the newly engaged pair appeared in Manhattan criminal court, facing charges including burglary, reckless endangerment, criminal mischief, and trespass. Most couples leave an engagement with a ring, a few photos, and one aunt immediately asking about the date. These two left with all of that plus matching court appearances, which is either a terrible legal strategy or the most committed couples activity ever devised. Relationship status, engaged. Legal status, complicated. Wedding theme, pending discovery. But one thing is worth mentioning here. For roughly 8 glorious hours on July 1st, humanity achieved something once thought impossible. People stopped arguing about war, inequality, inflation, politics, and even America's 250th birthday. Instead, we all looked up at two people trespassing more than 1,000 feet above Manhattan and collectively said, "Now that's romantic." That's both heartwarming and alarming, because it suggests that the only thing capable of uniting the public is love performed at misdemeanor altitude. So no, the lesson is not that anyone should climb skyscrapers, evade security, or treat common sense like an optional subscription service. Please do not do that. The lesson here is that for one brief moment, the world looked up and focused on love. And if that's what it takes to get people off social media and into provisional agreement, then maybe Cupid doesn't need an arrow as much as a climbing permit. And a very good attorney. Our sincere congratulations to this daredevil couple. May you experience only life's greatest heights, preferably ones accessible by elevator. And to America, happy semi-quincentennial, a fancy, unnecessarily difficult way of saying we're halfway between the bicentennial and tricentennial, which is exactly the kind of math this country deserves. Yankee Doodles, we got a great show for you tonight. When we return, we'll hear from our musical guest, Unky Sam and the Firecrackers, and later a visit from Dakota Liberty. In the meantime, put a feather in your cap and call it macaroni.